Hello everyone, I'll be sharing another extract of a chapter of my first book, Laying Down the Arms. This one is called Everyone is Right, No One is Wrong, and it felt important to share part of this chapter because we live in this increasingly polarized world, and a lot of people today seem to think that everyone has to agree on everything, that there is only one opinion that can be accepted. So many people are wasting their time and energy trying to convince others of their version of the truth, and at the same time demonizing people who hold a different sense of truth or a different set of values than them. And what I want to share through this chapter and through different chapters in the book, actually, where this theme will come back, is that it's impossible for everyone to agree on everything because we simply live in different realities. Our sense of reality is very different. So we perceive reality differently. So obviously and naturally, our truth, our sense of truth will be very different according to in which reality we live. So that is what this chapter is about. And it starts with each imaginable version of reality exists. Legend says that every time someone says fairies don't exist, a fairy dies. This is true in a way. What we need to understand is that there is not one single reality, but an infinite number of realities. For fairies to manifest and exist in our reality, the one that most people on this planet share, the reality that we call Earth and in which we decide to meet and interact, a dominant number of human beings needs to accept the existence of fairies. This is also why there are many reported fairy sightings in certain parts of the world and none at all in others. In areas where people believe in them, like Iceland for example, fairies are able to manifest more easily, whereas in other parts of the world, they are not or hardly ever able to manifest. Certain cultures or countries can create a microcosmos where certain phenomena can manifest and be measured and experienced by human beings, while these same phenomena are unable to manifest in other parts of the world. The contrary is true as well. We can create a closed environment where fewer things are possible than in other parts of the world. In a globalized world, where homogenization and governing megastructures are the norm, it has become increasingly easy for the dominant players to influence and even determine the borders and rules of the reality that most of the people live in. Today, many people have a limited view of reality and are convinced that only one version of reality exists, the one that is marketed to them via their television screens, radio, and publicity outlets, when in truth, every imaginable version of reality exists. This works as follows. Our brain is an analytical tool. It processes the impulses it gets and structures the information it receives, helping us to understand. The mind does not create or invent. The information that it picks up is already present in reality. The brain is much like a dream catcher in this regard, and certainly the more exercised, developed, and intricate the connections in our brain, the easier it becomes to retain information. But the source of the information is never the brain. This means that all that we can imagine or invent is already present somewhere in existence as a potential. The simple fact that we are capable of imagining or thinking of something means it already exists somewhere. We are unable to imagine or think of anything that is outside of reality or that is not already a potential within reality. This also means that everyone is always right, no matter what their opinion or conception of reality might be. Here's an example. High-level athletes admit that their mindset is one of the most important elements of their success. An athlete might have all the physical attributes to win and receive the best training in the world, but if they don't believe they are capable of winning, they will never win, because they create a reality in which winning and success are not within their possibilities. We could even say that the high-level training they receive is above all about helping them believe that success is possible, even more so than having a positive impact on their physical capacities. We see similar phenomena with children that come from rich families or from parents with a high position on the social ladder. Often, these children have higher success rates in life than children who come from poor families or marginalized backgrounds. The success is only partly due to cronyism or better education. It is mostly the consequence of a conditioning that starts at birth, through their family environment, and that continues later on. These children are conditioned to believe that they have more potential, more capacities, and sadly, they are also often led to believe that they have more rights than the rest of humanity. It's the conditioning of the mind and the creation of a certain mindset that makes a difference, more so than any intellectual or even financial advantages. When we know all this, trying to prove what is possible and what is not, what actually exists and what does not, for the whole world, for once and for all, is utter nonsense. It's an impossible quest, because reality is different for each and every person on this planet. It acts according to different rules for each individual. Matter and reality organize according to different rules for each person, depending on that person's consciousness. Trying to make a person see reality as you do while that person doesn't have the same consciousness is like asking a person that's sitting in another room to give you a detailed description of the room you are sitting in. Trying to prove that our way of seeing and doing things is right is futile, for in the end, we are all right. Our need to convince others of our own opinion just highlights the fact that we still need the recognition and approval of others. It means that we are still dependent on other people's opinions and are not yet entirely free. I will end the reading of the chapter here, but I will add to this, and this is something I expand on later on in the book, that the only way to really make a difference and to help people's consciousness expand is to confront them physically with different possibilities of reality. So you embody different possibilities. And when other people see this, you lead through example, their consciousness will expand to include other possibilities as well. And secondly, is to open your heart and widen the circle of love and your circle of compassion to include people who do not hold the same values and who do not hold the same opinions or versions of truth as you do. Love is the fastest, the easiest, and the most powerful way to blast open someone's reality and invite in other possibilities.